Alright guys, welcome back. So today we're reading Because of Winn, Dixie, chapter 25. And this is probably going to be the most heartbreaking thing ever. Tell you guys that I'm taking a break for maybe a month. Once we finish 2 books. I don't know necessarily I'm going to keep it that way, but so far it looks like I am going to be taking a break. Chapter 25. We heard the music before we even got to Gloria Dump's house. We heard it almost a block away. It was a guitar playing and singing and clapping. I wonder what's going on, my father said. We walked up Gloria's sidewalk and around back through her yard and into her kitchen. What we saw was Otis playing his guitar and Miss Fanny and Gloria holding Sweetie Pie in her lap. Amanda Dunlop and Stevie were sitting on the kitchen floor and clapping along and having the best possible time. Even Amanda was smiling. I couldn't believe they were so happy when Winn-Dixie was missing. We didn't find him, I shouted at him. The music stopped, said Gloria Dump. Look, the music stopped, and Gloria Dump looked at me and said, Child, we know you didn't find him. You didn't find him because he's right here all along. Are you kidding me? She took her cane and poked at something under her chair. Come on out of here, she said. There's a snuffle and hi. He's asleep, she said. His plump wore out. She poked around with her cane again, and Winn-Dixie stood up from underneath her chair and yawned. Winn-Dixie, I hollered. Dog, Gertrude, squawked. Winn-Dixie wagged his tail and showed him all his teeth and sneezed. I went pushing past everybody. I dropped to the floor and wrapped my arms around him. Where have you been? I asked him. He yawned again. How did you find him? I asked. No, there's a story, said Miss Friendly Gloria. Why don't you tell it? Well, said Gloria Dump, we was all just sitting around just waiting on you two. And after I convinced the Dewberry boys that I ain't no scary witch, with all full of spares and potions, she ain't no witch, Stevie said. He shook his bald head and looked kind of disappointed. Nah, said Dunlap. She ain't. If she was, she would have turned us into toads by now. He grinned. I could have told you that she wasn't a witch. Witches don't exist, said Amanda. They're just myths. All right, now, said Gloria. What happened was we all got through the witchy things, and then Miss Fanny said, why don't we have a little music while we wait for you two to get back? And so Otis played his guitar. Woohoo! There are a song he didn't know, and if he didn't know it, he can pick it right up right quick if you hum it to him. He has a gift. Gloria stopped and smiled over at Otis, and he smiled back. He took all lit up from the inside, and he looked all lit up from the inside. Tell what happened, Sweetie Pie said. How about the dog? So, said Gloria. Fanny and me were started things about all the songs that we knew from when we were little girls. We got Otis to play them, and we started singing them, teaching the words to these children. And then somebody sneezed. Sweetie Pie shouted, That's right, said Gloria. Somebody sneezed, and it wasn't none of us. And we looked around wondering who did it, thinking we maybe got us a burglar in the house. We looked around and we didn't see nothing, so we started to singing again, and sure enough there was another big echo. Sounded like it was coming from my bedroom, so I sent Otis in there, and I said, Otis, go in there and see who is sneezing, said Otis. Went, and do you know what he found? I shook my head. Winn-Dixie, shouted Sweetie Pie. That dog of yours was all hid underneath my bed, squeezed under there like the world was about to end, but he was smiling like a fool. Every time he heard Otis play the guitar smiling, he sneezed. My daddy laughed. It is true, Miss Fanny said. It's the truth, said Stevie. Dunlap nodded and smiled right at me. So Gloria Dump said, Otis playing his guitar right to the dog. In a little bit of time, Winn-Dixie came creeping out from underneath the bed. He was covered in dust, said Amanda. He looked like a ghost, said Dunlap. Yes, said Sweetie Pie, just like a ghost. Said Gloria. Just like a ghost. Anyway, the storm stopped after a while, and your dog settled underneath my chair and fell asleep. And that's where he's been ever since. I just waiting on you to come back and find him. Winn Dixie, I said. I hugged him so tight he wheezed. We were out there whistling and calling for you, and you were right there all along. Thank you, I said to everybody. Well, said Gloria Dump, we didn't do nothing. We just sat there and waited and sung some songs. We all got to be good friends now. The punch ain't nothing but water, and the egg salad sandwiches got tore up by the rain. You gotta eat them with a spoon if you want egg salad. But we got pickles to eat, Lotimus, Lowenges, and we still got a party going on. My daddy pulled up a kitchen chair and sat down. Otis, he said, do you know any hums? I know some. And he still got a party going on. My dad pulled up a chair and sat down. Otis, he said, do you know any hums? I know some, said Otis. You hum it, said Miss Franny, nodding her head, and he couldn't play it. So my daddy started humming something, and Otis started picking it out on his guitar. And when Dixie wagged his tail and laid back down underneath Gloria's chair, and I looked around the room, all the different faces, and I felt my heart swell up inside me with pure happiness. I'll be back in a minute, I said, but they're all singing now and laughing, and Winn Dixie was snoring, so no one heard me. Alright guys, that's it for chapter 25. Stay tuned for chapter 26 later on tonight or maybe tomorrow.